Well, proud of our group for. So this was a challenge all day long. Certainly, to get them stopped defensively was a real challenge. They really have some quick guards that can really play off the bounce and gave our guards fits a lot of the day. Obviously, the um, Brown kid was just phenomenal. Really coming off of a tough game for her at Kansas. We thought she'd respond. I didn't think she'd respond that way. I thought we'd do a better job on her, but she's tough to cool off once she got going. She got going early and continued on for all 4 quarters. But proud of our group. We made some plays, made some huge threes, hit a great stretch there where we stretched it out and needed every bit of because that Arizona State team's a really good offensive team that can put up some points in a hurry, and they gave us fits all day long, whether it was from layups or free throws. They were getting to spots on the floor that were a problem for us.
All right, so Lee leaves the game late first half and doesn't come back out of the locker room. Do you have an update on Aoki?
Yeah, it's not good, guys. It's not good. I don't have a definitive update, but it's not going to be a week or two. So
did she stay in the building the entire game?
She did.
Or did she leave?
To my knowledge, yeah. To my knowledge, she did. I talked to her 10 minutes ago, and I have not talked to the doctors. Have not talked to the trainers, but yeah, it's probably not good.
How do you feel like your team responded to finding out they wouldn't have her for the second half?
Yeah, I don't know that our players ever we didn't really discuss it. We didn't, I'm not sure that they knew that she wasn't coming back out. I'm not sure they had that info. They just knew that she wasn't coming out at the start. There's been times where a player doesn't come back out because of whatever reason, maybe getting an x-ray or whatever. So I'm not sure they knew that. So I don't know. I thought our group on the floor, I thought Maupin gave us a big lift. I thought Gisela Sanchez gave us a lift. Certainly Poindexter made a lot of shots. We moved the ball well in that third quarter when we needed to, and were able to find enough offense.
What was it about Arizona State that made you decide to go with Sanchez and Maupin instead of Taylor in Lee's place?
I just decided to see what it was like, quite honestly. It wasn't anything. It was kind of a gut feeling that maybe we should small ball them and see how they reacted to it. And we were able to get some layups in transition and kind of get the floor more open. And once Maupin had that run, I decided to see, what Sanchez would look like in that run. And Gisela did some good things.
Maupin came in pretty early, played a lot of minutes too. Was that the plan just because of Arizona State's speed, or?
Well, she got in the normal rotation, but then she earned the next rotation, and I think that's one of the things that when you've been playing a 10-player rotation, one of my messages to teams is that make sure that you're earning those minutes and not taking them for granted, because sometimes I think, we're just playing, 10 players and here's the rotation. And I'm pretty consistent with when I sub and how I sub people. And but Maupin got an extra rotation in there because of how she played the first time in.
What did you change at halftime? Was there anything specific X's and O's wise, or what was the message?
Well, the one thing I will say is we don't practice those lineups a lot. Certainly Sanchez at the 5, we don't practice a lot. So we became very basic at that time. There's only 3 or 4 things that we were doing with Sanchez in that lineup. Maupin has the ability to do it because she practices those reps. But we really just wanted to see if we couldn't spread them enough to get them in some initial ball screen action and see if we couldn't get an advantage that way and play out of that advantage. But I really thought our transition game spread them. And I thought Maupin had a big point to that. If they didn't get back to her, then she got a layup. If they did get back to her, then we had open shooters. Sanchez came in and she did the exact same thing. She gets the layup, she then gets the corner three. So I mean, we were pretty hard to guard in that stretch. And when you're making shots, it's really hard to guard, obviously. But we had open looks in that stretch.
Did Arizona State's intensity surprise your team at the start?
You'd have to ask them that. It didn't surprise me. You'd have to ask them that. We have not practiced well this week, so it didn't surprise me that we got hit in the mouth a little bit early, because that's how we practiced yesterday, but I knew how quick they were, and I knew how quick they could score because I'd seen it and we'd showed it. But you'd have to ask them that.
I know you mentioned that you don't have a timetable for Lee, but while she's out, what's the biggest thing that changes for you guys?
Well, just the sheer strength that she brings. She doesn't give up a lot of ground in there, and we really don't have, nobody has a backup player like Lee. You know what I mean? So nobody across the country, like if you were to take Paige Becker's out, UConn doesn't have a backup to her, you don't have a backup that's like Becker's. Notre Dame doesn't have a backup like Hidalgo, so, I mean, it's a significant change for us at both ends of the floor. You said defensively, but defensively she patrols the paint so well that it allows you to get beat off the bounce. You saw it in the second half. We didn't have the rim protection that we normally have. And those guards were pretty free in there once they broke about the 10-foot mark. So Lee brings a lot of rim protection, and we certainly didn't have it in the second half.
Jalen Glenn had a stretch there in the second half where she scored, I think, 8 points in probably about your 10 points and had 2 back-to-back threes. How important was that stretch for her, and what did you like from her game today?
It was a huge stretch for us because we were really moving the ball well in that stretch, and the only thing that got Jay out of the game was foul trouble. And I hated taking her out, but the way Arizona State presses, and you saw it, we couldn't afford to have her pick up a fourth and not come into the fourth where we felt like we could play her. So unfortunately, that third foul was a significant foul for her, because you're right, she had a good look. She had the good drive. She had the 2 threes and had a really good look to her.
Tamara made some really tough buckets in the first half to, at times, kind of keep you in the game or give you a chance to take the lead. How important was that stretch for her, and what did you like from her in that first half that she did?
I thought she hit some moments shots in that, when they got excited, she answered the big 3 on the left side of the floor. She answered right back with a 3 at the top of the key area. So she hit some I think, important momentum-changing shots where Arizona State was really starting to feel pretty good about things, and she answered well.
Broad-based, I'm kind of doing a piece on Tamara and just her finding this groove lately. 57 points, 14 three-pointers in the last 3 games, and she talked a little bit about finding, this this time frame and being able to have success. What have you seen from her, particularly during this stretch of 3 games, and just the way she's been able to really blossom with the ball?
Yeah, just a really comfortable shooter. Feet underneath her, timely, in rhythm. Feels like she's playing comfortable at both ends of the floor. I think the right aggressiveness, but mainly when a shooter's going well, you can look at their lower body and tell that their feet are ready, they've got a good base to it, and she looks like she's got a good rhythm to her shot right now.
When she came to K-State, did you envision things like this from her?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw it on film with Tulsa. We saw it, I think she had like 39 against Arkansas in the WNIT. I mean, we definitely saw it. I mean, she's got the capabilities to really catch fire and catch it and be hard to cool off. She's one of those players that when she gets it going, there's very little you can do to cool her off. And we got to continue to get her the basketball in those stretches because she's pretty special.
Obvious question: how valuable is it to have her going into February and March?
Well, no question. I've said this before, you got to score the ball. And she gives you a weapon on the floor that can flat do that. So, I mean, it's great to have her. It's going to be important that we continue to grow with her here in this stretch and have her playing good basketball.